Let's go over NinjaTrader's risk analysis suite. So what I have here is a backtest on the S&P December contract on just a simple strategy that I've used, and I want to get an idea of how statistically likely this result is going to be. And I can do this using a Monte Carlo simulation. If I go to trades, I can right click and choose Monte Carlo simulation. And here I can graph a number of different metrics, and I can do it in, of course, currency percent or points. I can do it on just my winning or losing trades and just my long or short trades. And then I have some filtering and setting inputs right here before I generate. So let's just start with profit. According to this, I had 3,700 profit. Outliers, these are where you have a position where like it went in overnight and the next day it gapped up really high. That would be an outlier. You made a ton of money on that one, and most of the time, at least with strategies I've run, most of the time your big gains are on these outliers and your big losses. So what's good to do is just remove those. I typically do 10% on either side. This way all my big huge wins and all my big huge losses are out, and we can see how it's normally going to act. Then number of simulations and number of trades per simulation. This is just going to re-simulate what the strategy already did. It does some fancy math that basically does some similar trading to this and it does it hundreds of times, so you get a good idea of, you know, given that same trade 100 times, how likely is it going to be this or how likely is it going to be that. That's what this is going to tell you. So I'm going to click generate here, and it's going to generate my profit curve. And what you're going to see is a huge profit down here and absolutely no profit down here. And that really doesn't mean as much as you think. What you're really looking at is the percentage down here. This is going to tell you how often whatever this is on the curve is going to happen. So, and I guess not how often, that's the wrong way to say it. What I should be saying is this is going to tell you, I guess, what percentage of the time. So yeah, how often? How often was correct. So here we have 50%. 50% of the time, 50% of the time it's going to get at least this much in profit. 2,387 bucks. That's what it says here, according to the Monte Carlo simulation. With the outliers out and everything, it's going to do that at least 50% of the time. As you go further to the right, it says 60, 70, 100%. That is actually, you should subtract that from the percentage. So what you get here is basically, if it's at 90% and you're on this profit curve, and it says at 91%, you got 4,750 some odd dollars. What that really means is you have a 10% likelihood of this happening. And that's what this really tells you, is the likelihood of things happening. So down here you also have a 10% likelihood of this happening. 10% of the time, or 11% according to this where I clicked, 10% of the time you're going to make 250 bucks. And over here, 10% of the time you're going to make 4,700. So really what you want to do is just look at this 50% range and kind of get a good idea of where you're going to be at. And we can do this with other metrics as well. Cumulative profit really isn't the best way to check. What I like to look at is my consecutive winners or my consecutive losers, so I can get a good idea of whenever I'm trading a strategy, especially, and I have like 5 negative trades in a row. Sometimes I'll come back to this and just see how likely was it that I had 5 negative trades in a row. And here it is generated, and I can see here at 61%, 5 consecutive losers. So what that's telling me is basically that 40% of the time that could happen. It's not that my strategy is failing, it's just on my statistical curve of the likelihood of that happening. This is a really good risk analysis tool, and it's something that NinjaTrader just started providing in NinjaTrader 7. So from here we can continue on talking about risk analysis software in NinjaTrader, or we can go back to the start and start talking about something else.